Hey y'all, welcome to Fuel Podcast, where I am your host, Michelle Gordy Baker. Now it's Fire Unleashed, embodying love. I just love that. All right, that just puts fire to my belly. I think it's just dynamic. And it kind of is going more along the lines of where I want this um podcast to go. It's funny because um when I had the thought to create the podcast, I was only thinking of money, and money goes a long way with me. Um, so when I thought of making a podcast, I only thought of money, and what made me bring it to the surface is that my friend and I, we would have like deep conversations, conversations that I thought like, oh my gosh, like these are so good, and they were so we would just like bounce off each other, and they were so fruitful, and then they would help me. So I thought, wow, like I know that if these conversations are helping me, I know that um they can help someone else. It's so funny because a lot of people that I meet, or not a lot of people, but some people that I meet, they often say like, if I could just touch one person, and um, I want everybody touched. I want everybody healed. I want everybody delivered. I want everybody set free. I want everybody on fire with the Lord. Now, I'm not saying that that's the reality. You know, God's word said that it's His will that none shall perish, but all shall come to repentance. And I think He has given me that heart posture that, like, I don't want to see nobody perish. Um, and I really do want to see everyone sold out, surrendered, and doing the will of the Father, literally operating as the members of the body of Christ that we are called to operate as. Which we all know that's not the reality um, of the way this world works. But however many that I can reach to play their role in the body, I intend to reach. The cliche says, even if it's just one, nah, everybody, every single soul that it's intended to reach. I don't care if it's whatever the takeaway will be from whatever episode. Um, I just my prayer is that anybody that tunes in, wherever you tune in from, that the presence of God falls where you are, and He just changes the trajectory of your life. That you don't even want to be the same. You don't want to look the same. That you realize that your thoughts are wicked. And I mean, like, if they go up against God's thoughts for you, or if they're outside of the will of God for you, that you learn that if it's an enemy to God, it's an enemy to you. And that you deal with that enemy that is against you, which is a very real enemy. But guess what? We got a God that is very real and alive, that wants to save, set free, heal, and deliver all of His children. So yeah, so um fun fact about me, not necessarily about me, but about concerning the podcast. I didn't want to like do it once God began to confirm it, right? So again, I stated earlier that when I first wanted to do it, I was like, excuse me, hold on. When I first wanted to do it, I was like, oh, I can make so much money. And to me, this is when it wasn't as popular as it was when I first had the thought, and then start bringing it to my friend. It wasn't as popular as it was. But as it began to get popular, I began to psych myself out. And then the more I begin to psych myself out, like there's so many podcasts out here. Why would somebody tune into my podcast over this podcast? And like, and I don't mean when I say there's so many podcasts out here, I don't mean like there's so many. I mean like there's so many good, fruitful podcasts that you can tune into that will really fill you up, that will really lead you to the cross. So to me, it just felt like there's really no need. But God began to confirm it, like through like just various things and various people. Even like so I like do Lyft or whatever. Like once God basically like confirmed, or yeah, you'll you'll be doing a podcast. It just seemed like everything was like circling around that, right? And I can't remember when I first thought about it. Of course, it was within, not of course, but it was between the years of 2021 to now. But God began to confirm it so much last year. And just so many different people. I do Lyft sometimes. So many of my like Lyft passengers were one lady was like, we were just chatting, and she was like, we were talking about what was going on in this world, and it was like really, really, really good dialogue. And she was like, "Come on, girl, where's the camera?" And I'm like, "For sure, like let's set that thing up." And I didn't tell her like, "Oh my goodness, the Lord told me to do a podcast." I just felt like that was confirmation. It just seemed like everything continued to revolve around the podcast or do the podcast or like and then one time my best friend called me like I had a dream, and she told me in a dream I was like interviewing somebody, and I was like, wow, okay. And to me, I took that as a charge, as a confirmation. And then another passenger was like, oh my goodness, your voice now don't all right. But the reason I took it as confirmation because when he said your voice, I wasn't like um "Uh," like when he said your voice, I actually kind of stopped talking because like my voice is like very like raspy, and to me sometimes I be sound like a man. So, so I'm like, but he's like your voice, and he's like, if you what did he say, Holy Spirit? He said something along the line. I cannot remember word verbatim. Um, if I pretend to remember, I'm probably gonna lie to y'all, and I don't want to do that. So I'm a paraphrase. So he said something along the lines of, um, "Wow, if your voice was on something, I would listen to it all the time." And I was like, it to me, it was like confirmation. The whole entire ride, he talked about my voice and that I should record something, that I should be in a studio recording using my voice. And he wasn't like, I don't think he was like referring to like singing. You should be a singer. Like he wasn't saying that. He was just like your voice. You need to like put it out there and stuff like that. And I'm like, and my mind is like, child, not this voice. um, but then I didn't mention it to him, and he just kept like it was like he was so adamant about your voice. You need to put it on something. Like we need to hear your voice. Like I wherever your voice is, I'ma tune into it. That's what he said. And I was just like, wow. And he said that while he was so again, he kept saying it throughout the car ride. And then once I um once I went to drop him off, like literally about to let him out, he was like, I'm not kidding. Like whatever your voice is on, I would tune into it. And I was like, fun fact, um, God told me to start a podcast. So I think that's right on time what you're saying because, like, I don't know, it made sense to me. Like, it all was like confirmation, and it wasn't like And like each time I'll get the confirmation, I'll be like, all right, I'll do it. And then I'll sit in front of the camera and act goofy or not even do it at all because I'll be sitting here acting like I don't know how to act or like not acting like I don't know how to act. I would just be pretending to be somebody I'm not, trying to look politically correct, not look crazy or anything, or it would be like, oh, I should record, and then like my hair look crazy, or some. It was always something. It literally always felt like, I felt like record, and then I would give myself an excuse why not to record. Um, so I just think it's also funny in the way the Lord does things, and the funny, even more funny part about it, I would keep seeing stuff that's like, be obedient, do what God told you to do. And I'll be like, Lord, what do you want me to do? Lord, what do you want me to do? And he keep like saying like, do what I told you to do the first time. Like Abraham, basically, like he did not necessarily say that to Abraham, but Abraham got the next instructions once he left his family. Like once him and Lot separated is when God then spoke again. And every time I'm being disobedient, I remember Abraham. And every time I'm like, God, what do you want me to do? And then I'll call my friend and I'll be like, I don't know. Like, I'm having a hard time like hearing God's voice. And she would keep telling me, like, well, what you need to do is do what God told you to do. You keep trying to, like, not necessarily, she wouldn't necessarily say you keep trying to run, but she would say, like, you keep trying to get the next step without doing the first step. It's like building a desk, and I never thought of it like this. Now I'm thinking of it like this. That if you don't put the ones with the twos, and if the threes and the fours goes on top of the ones and the twos, if step one not done, you won't get to step two. My God. I just think like I just could not think of it like that. To me, it was like, God, where are you? I need you to talk to me. I need you to tell me what I'm wearing today. I need you to tell me go left. I need you to tell me go right. I need you to tell me a different task to do versus the task that you gave me. Basically, that's what I was saying by not what. It was a long road of do the podcast, don't do the podcast, do the podcast, don't do the podcast. Now the market is so saturated. Now we're here out of obedience doing the podcast. So yeah. But back to the name Fuel, because I tend to go on a tangent. Back to the name Fuel. How I got Fuel was one day I was watching this show, and the guy had on a what was he had on like a work uniform, and the name of the place was Fuel, and it was like it smacked my eyeballs. Like it was like a 3D movie without the glasses. I just was sitting there laying on the couch watching it, and it was just on, pretty much watching me, because I put it on because I had missed so many episodes, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna just watch it, and that was the thing that stuck out to me. I ran upstairs because I was watching it in the living room. I ran upstairs and I created the logo. It was like kind of like once I seen it, I literally stopped watching the show, ran upstairs, and it felt like God was downloading like everything. So I was trying to like look up what can fuel me, and I ran it past my friend, and like she's like helping me and stuff like that, and like we came up with it. My plan for fuel is to just um kind of like debunk the myths of God. We often put God in a box. We often profess with our mouth that we love the Lord, and our hearts are very far from them. When I say we are, I'm in it. Um, we all have turned our back on the Lord. We all have been Gomer to our husband Hosea, which is the Lord. And Gomer is his children. It literally is like Hosea and Gomer. It's like you keep going into to be a prostitute and love on these other things. Love on God's creation more than Him. Love on people, places, and things far more than we love Him. Not knowing that He is the one we're seeking anyway. That none of these things will work out if He's not in it. So we end up back at His feet anyway. The prayer I will always pray to God, and I would at that point like I would laugh because it would be like, Lord, like I end up back here at your feet anyway. And it's like I wouldn't laugh saying it. Um, but it's like laughing now, it's like, Lord, every time I ended up back at his feet, I literally was like, Lord, why didn't I just stay here? Because it's like I'm gonna end up back here anyway. It literally is like it's like getting in a car. It's like leaving your house, getting in a car, putting on the GPS, back to your house and going around the block. Why did I leave anyway? You know what I mean? Wasn't nothing out there for me anyway. You know, it was all out of selfish greed and just to see what the world had. That's what see, went around the block. Done seen what the world had, realized it ain't had nothing. But wanted to use and abuse me and that's what it did. But I allowed it to. But yeah, I was on a tangent about all of that. That's how Fuel came about. Basically saying like I want to kind of like debunk the myths of how we view God and how we view the Holy Spirit, how we view Jesus, and how we just oh my, I hope they don't flag this video whenever it goes up or whatever. But the movie The Forge, right? I just seen it last night, and the woman Miss Clara was saying like what she say? She said we treat God like a spare tire. She said prayer. We treat prayer like a spare tire that we only need it when we need help. Basically, when the other tire blows. Basically, when we run out of, when we can't do it no more. When we come out of our own, when our strength ain't working no more or whatever. And she was like, but what we need to treat him like is the steering wheel. Hold on to him for dear life. And mighty God, is she right? In Psalms 91, right? Hold on, because this is so good. Hold on. This is so good. It's good to me. This is good to me. Thank you. In Psalms 91, in the MSG version, right? Which is when you get all the way down to 14 and 16, it says, if you'll hold on to me for dear life, says God, I'll get you out of any trouble. Hold on. Let me collect myself. Okay? Yo, that's good in and of itself. She said, we often treat God like a spare tire, but we need to treat him like the steering wheel. Hold on to him for dear life. Imagine with, well, I'm from Philly, so we got potholes and we got everything messing up your alignment. So half of these people got wheel alignment problems anyway. I know I do. Shoot. And imagine letting that steering wheel go. What's happening when you let that steering wheel go? You crash into something if your alignment messed up. I mean, if it ain't, you can only go so far straight if it ain't. But if it is, the wheel can't stay straight. So you go without holding on to that wheel. You're crashing into anything and everything. But if you hold on to the will, to God with for dear life, He'll keep you out of trouble. Won't be crashing into nothing. Hallelujah. Um, I praise God for that. I thought that was so good. That didn't have nothing to do with none of this. Yeah. So, I want to debunk the myth of God. Um, the lies that we think of Him. Like, so many people just have, and sometimes it's lies, and sometimes it's not the full truth. And I don't know the fullness of God. I'm not going to pretend that I know the fullness of God or the deepness of God, or I know God, and I know I've heard other people's thoughts and interpretation of Him. And God is bigger than our wildest dreams, and grow in God together and go deeper in Him, and truly learn together. I have so much to learn. So I pray that this podcast is a blessing to not just me, but so many people. That's my truest heart's desire. That's my truest heart's desire. That we just grow closer to God. I think there's no point in growing in anything if you're not growing in God. There's no point. There's no point. You grow without God, it's gonna building a house with straw. May as well blow it down yourself and ask the Lord what to build the house out of and help you build it. So yes. So yeah. Um I don't know if it is going to be a stamp unto F.U.E.L. Um, but I know that what I felt led necessarily to say uh, before recording today. I don't know necessarily in totality. I know what my first 3 episodes look like, so this will apply to my first 3 episodes. The Word of God says, Revelations 12:11 says, "And they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death." Right? So I want to hit that point of obviously I already told on myself really jumping ahead. Basically that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And I just wanted to share my testimony a bit of it. Hold on, I gotta readjust my leg. All right, so um, where do I start? Um, hmm, it's kind of a little hard sharing my testimony because it's like I don't know where to start. So um, hmm, I don't know where to start. I think that's why it's hard. Because I want to start early on. Hmm. So I have different points to talk about, but it's like roping them. All of them are in my like older life, so I don't know. Maybe that's hmm. All right. I don't know. All right. So here we go. There we go. I'll start a little roughly around. I don't know. Um, I don't know. So I don't know if it was before or after. My it's gonna be like a bit all over the place because I'm not necessarily sure. But I think it was before. All right, so here I'm trying to explain how we were not raised with my father in the house. We did spend a few summers with him, or a couple summers with him. Um, Yeah, and we went on like a few like family trips together. And we did a few like family things together. My dad just wasn't necessarily around for like guidance and like just the things that children need their father for. He wasn't particularly around for those things. But we were mostly raised by my mom, and yeah, we were mostly raised by my mom. So my mom basically raised all five of us by herself for the most part. The road to Christ. That's where I was trying to go, basically, right? That's where I was trying to go, basically. Um, so because it's like it was early. I was in the third grade, y'all, and monitor your kids, honey. Um, I was in the third grade, and I don't know if y'all remember, but or some remember, some don't even know. But we had to do. I want to call it leapfrog, but I could be wrong. Or was I in the fourth grade? No, maybe I was in the third. One of my grades had a upper grade and a lower grade in it together, or whatever. Um, but when I was in the third grade, um, this we would had the headphones on and doing the thing at the computers, right? And I remember this, like, see what I'm saying? A lot of stuff I remember. I remember like the crazy stuff, right? Not crazy stuff, but you know. But I'm in the third grade and we doing our work on a computer, and the boy next to me, he tapped me, right? He like, Michelle. I'm like, what? He like, look. And he got his little I don't know if it can be said on this. So I'm gonna just say he had his stuff out. Um, and I'm like, like I have four sisters. I ain't never seen one by accident. Never seen one on purpose. Didn't know what it was. Um, so I'm like, ooh. So I like look at it. Now I'm like, what is that? Right? Like I wasn't like, what is that? All like I just like, what is that? And I'm like, try. I look back at my stuff and he like touch it, and I'm like, mind your kids. I touched that thing. I said, oh, mind you, this is the third grade. I can laugh now, but like in real life, I was not. I would. I pray that I would monitor my children much closer. I was say something else. What I would have wanted to say. What I wanted to say was I would have smacked that little boy and his mama, or whatever. Um, but yeah, so I touched it, and then like all throughout like my elementary school. This gonna be crazy just because a lot of stuff don't nobody know, so it's just crazy. So it's just crazy to say. It was this boy I liked, this one boy I liked, and like I would like touch his stuff under the table, like not like not like this, like really touch it, like crazy out of pocket. Um, and that like persists through my like elementary school. I don't even know like it wasn't like it literally had to be perversion itself, because like after that first encounter, right? Me and then um that boy, we never like had these conversations. Like we never had the conversations of like, why don't you do this? Like it was just like a thing. And then like the other girls around me were doing it. It just was like a thing. And like not even like my friends were doing it. It just was this was a thing. Like we wasn't in school. Like we was still learning and doing our work, but that was what we was doing in some classes. You know what I mean? Not everybody, just some people, like a couple people. Um so yeah, that's what we like, and like I said, that persists through like elementary school. And then I got to high school and like I think even still in elementary school, I'm trying to think. I think that's all really that happened in elementary school. And then oh no, and then I was 13 and I got my first boyfriend, and we would like just kiss all the time. And yeah, we would just like kiss all the time. That's all it really was. Like we would just, I guess he didn't know no better, I didn't know no better, so we would just kiss all the time. And I knew to, because that's what I was doing to, like, So, we would just kiss and I would touch, you and then um fast forward to like high school. So high school was like, I don't know, high school was different. So I wasn't like doing that in high school. I don't know. I don't even think boys was interested in me in high school. So I was just the funny person, just being funny, asking for attention without saying I want attention, just being funny. So it was obvious that my sisters was into like boys and stuff like that. And one time my mom like, "Can I ask you a question?" I'm like, so "Are you a lesbian?" I was like, I was so offended because like no, mom, it wasn't that I didn't like boys. Boys just did not like me. Let's make it clear. No, I wasn't no lesbian. But I like to like play with the boys and hang with the boys. But it was also like, um, I don't know. Like I learned later in life. I was just trying to find a dad. Like you know what I'm saying? It's like what I learned later in life, that I was trying to find a dad. But me hanging with guys, it was just trying to um fill that void of not having a man around. Which is kind of why I tried to share um the story on my dad, but it was I couldn't even tell the story properly because I don't necessarily know how it went. I could say we only spent 1 year at my dad's house, or it could have been two, or it could have been three, but these were like summertime years. But like I remember being at my dad's house and us like riding our bikes and like having a good time. My dad never really not necessarily me, or maybe I didn't spend time with him, but my dad didn't necessarily spend time with me, I'll say. Probably because I was just doing other stuff. I don't know. Like, but also like when I think about it now, I did not know my dad. I don't know how that makes sense, but like, yeah, he was my dad, but I didn't know the man. Like we was just at his house. His house. So it's like, you know, and we was just riding our bikes and just having a good time. Like, being kids and stuff. Um but I never like got to know my dad. I never like sat down and had like conversations with my dad until I got a little older. When I was in college, that's when like my dad and I's relationship began to like start in a way. It's funny because all my life, um, my mom was a single mother raising us. But when I got to college, it kind of like the roles kind of split. It was like my mom was barely there, but my dad was always there that they thought like that I had a dad and not a mom. And I was like, that's so funny because it's the complete opposite. Like, it's the most I spent with my dad. Like, it was even so funny to a point that my friend said, my dad had made me mad one time. My dad had made me mad one time, and um, I blocked him on my phone. And my friend said, and I told my friend I blocked my dad, and he said, "Why you block your dad?" And he said, "Why you block your dad? It's not like he gonna call you anyway." And I was like, he said, "It's not like he gonna call you anyway to find out he was blocked. He blocked." I cracked up, and at the time I thought it was funny because it was valid, but like low key, that made me sad because like it's the truth. But I didn't realize it made me sad. I just thought it was funny because it was true. I thought it was funny because it was shady. Because I was very shady. So I thought it was funny because that's something I would have said. So it was like, um, so yeah, but I didn't realize that it hurt me. The reality of it, I didn't realize I was hurt by the reality of my dad not being there. I just thought I was used to it. I just thought like, oh well. And by that time, again, of course, I had already. First of all, when I was in college, I had already um started to just like like boys were like my bro or my best friend or just to be up under a man, like you know what I mean, out of like um I don't know, trying to fill a void or whatever. So my mom, I told you my mom had said to me like, "Are you a lesbian?" But this is in high school, and I'm like, "No," like, and I was very much offended by the question because I'm like, well, why would she think that? Like, and I'm in my head like, I never asked my mom why would she ask me that. I never asked her that. I never asked her why would. So I asked why, but she was just like, I don't know. But like, it was like I never later went and said why, or I never like dug deeper into it. I just was now trying to prove that I'm not a lesbian. So like now I'm just trying to be more, trying to show guys that I'm more interested in them and not just being their friend or whatever. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I'm the reason I'm stopping because I have a thought, but like it will make no sense if I just jump in it now. Um, uh, sorry, I'm trying to think. Because I would have to then explain. I have to explain like a little bit. I don't know. I guess we go back. That's why I said this story is gonna be all over the place. No, we can fast forward. We can fast forward. Can we fast forward? I don't know. When I was younger, very much younger, not yet in high school, not I can't remember how old I was. But when I was younger, I hmm, when I was younger, I used to hate it in my household. And not because I was going through some like it just was all I don't know. I can't. Um, I'm trying to think. 'Cause it's like a lot. I don't know. I used to hate it in my household. I used to feel like I was like and I don't even want to say like punching bag. I felt like I was the forgotten child, like to my mom, and then to my siblings, I felt like the forgotten child. Like I just felt like um they can care less of me or whatever. I just felt very rejected. Thank you. I felt very rejected from my parents and my siblings. And not necessarily yet by my little sister, and I say yet because later on I felt rejected by her, but not early on. Early on, we just wanted to hang with our older sisters, and they just would make us like hang with each other because we was like the little sisters, and to them it's like girls, bye, like y'all our little sisters. What we look like hanging with our little sisters, and they wanted to have a good time or they wanted to like be big sisters or whatever. I don't know. I just knew that when I seen my big sisters, I made a mental note. Even as a young girl, I made a mental note and said, I do not want to be the big sister to my little sister that my big sisters are to me. I wanted to actually be a big sister to my little sister. I thought my big sisters were like just sisters. They like I didn't necessarily learn anything from them. I felt I felt the things that I was learning was what I did not want to do and what I did not want to be. So I felt like yeah, they weren't like necessarily like big sisters that were like, "Hey, don't do this and don't do that." Like they was doing whatever they wanted to do and if we got caught doing whatever we want to do, that's on us. If we didn't, we didn't. We just there was no. I have this joke with my one sister. She's like over me. We're 11 months apart, and I say to her like, "We on the same playing field. Like you not my big sister. I'm not your little sister." And the reality of it is yes, she's my big sister, but low key for a very long time, that's how I felt about all my big sisters. That like we were on the same playing field. Ain't nobody over nobody. Y'all just sisters. Like y'all not big sisters. That's why like I even used to say like I wish me and my little sister's age gap was different. So I can really teach her things. I taught her like little stupid stuff, like and not little stupid stuff, but like I taught her how to break, but that was forced. Like we learned how to like jump rope together. Like we learned like I we learned a lot together and we had a lot of fun together. She used to make me play with her Barbie dolls with her. I hated Barbie dolls, but I would sit there and play Barbie dolls with her. All I used to do, look, perversion. All I used to do was make the Barbie dolls do a split. That's it. She be doing the Barbie doll be like this all day long. That's all I be doing with the Barbie was making them girls do a split. Like they be arguing all the time. Had a Barbie dolls fighting. I wasn't doing no real stuff with the Barbie dolls. It just was so funny, but all the time, my little sister had so many Barbies, and we would just set them up all over the floor. She would have a house, and a car, and a bedroom, and a dresser, and she had everything inside the house. She had a house, she had house furniture, but she wouldn't put the stuff in the house. She would make the house the floor. So this section would be the one bedroom. That section would be the next bedroom. That section would be the bathroom. That section would be the kitchen. That section would be the living room. So it was kind of cool or whatever, but whatever. So yeah. Um. So yeah. So I used to. So I used to. Um. Yeah. So I used to have a good time with my little sister. Then I felt like my little sister started um like not being fake to me. Yeah, being fake to me. Pertaining like her friends. It was like her friends. It was like I don't know it, but I was very like insecure. So in my mind, I used to like think people thoughts for them about me. Do that make sense? So like I don't care if you was sitting there looking at me and just breathing your own air. You ain't do nothing. But I used to think people's thoughts about me. So I used to think my little sister was y'all was a hot funky mess. So I used to think my little sister was embarrassed of me, like as her big sister, because I was a hot funky mess, and my little sister was like, her dad kept her like fly. Me, I'm wearing these big old shoes. I just looked crazy. To me, I just looked crazy. I just looked a hot funky mess, and I said funky. Um, yeah, so I just looked a mess. So that was it with my siblings. So that's why I said like at first, like I didn't feel rejected by her. I felt rejected by her later, and then like I just always felt like rejected by my mom, my sisters, my dad. Just rejection, rejection, rejection around every corner. Like it just my pop. That man would cuss me out, and I thought he hated me because I was big. I was so it just was a lot of like I did not know. It just was like he was just so mean to me, and he was mean. I'm not saying like I was the only one he was mean to, but he was more mean to like me and my older cousin Hakeem. In my mind, he was mean to us because we was big. But again, I don't know. It's like he didn't like nobody, but it seemed like he hated us. You know what I'm saying? Me. I can only speak for myself. It seemed like he liked nobody, but he hated me. So again, like rejection there, it just felt like at all like angles, just rejection, 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 rejection. Um, yeah, so I was just trying to make up for being rejected, um, making people love me, basically. Um, like it's terms that I know now, um, that I could not interpret then. So I don't know if that's when or how people pleasing start. It very much probably could have been. But again, I do not know. I just did not like the feeling of rejection. I hated to be rejected. Me and my little sister was even running across the street. She would. My little sister used to laugh at this all the time, and I would laugh with her, but I didn't think it was funny. People pleasing. How you laughing at something you don't think funny? You get what I'm saying? um, and we were going to the store, and we were running across the street, and this man literally stopped dead smack in front of me. Like, so we tried to beat the car across the street, but he started zooming. So as he zooming, we stopped because, but my little sister was behind me, and he stops dead smack in front of me like this. It's the car, and this is me. I'm at his window, like trying to run across. I'm just trying to get across the street, sir. I'm a kid. Me and my little sister, we were just kids trying to get to the store. And he stops and he looked me dead in my face and says, "You ain't even worth a penny." And pulls off. And my little sister thought that was the funniest thing in the world. That crushed me. Okay? Like, I don't know, but that just crushed me. And then it just felt like, sorry, why would you say that to a little girl, first of all? But again, rejection all the way around. It just felt like smack in the face, smack in the face, smack in the face, smack in the face, no matter where I went. Um, so again, like I said, I tried to make it up with making people love me. You know, if they hate me, then y'all, I hope y'all love me because, you know, y'all all I got at this point. And if y'all don't love me, I ain't no point in being here. I used to literally sit on my floor and cry my eyes out. And I used to say, Lord, why? Excuse me, I didn't even say, Lord, why? Now I know I was talking to the Lord, fun fact. But I did not know, I didn't know the Lord then, the call on him. That's why it's also important that you teach your kids to grow in relationship with the Lord early on. Because like he is the one who hears all. He hears their hearts cry. He sees all. He know what we going through. And I used to say, why am I here? I used to cry so deeply in my room, so bad. I used to cry like, why am I here? I hate it here. I don't want to be here. Um, I just used to cry out and say, why am I here? That was my only ask. I used to say I didn't want to be here. I used to say, kill me. I used to say, it was all of that. All I was asking for, I did not want to live anymore. Like, it just felt like so, I don't know. That's what it was. If I'm being completely transparent, I just wanted to not be alive. Yeah. Or unalive. Uh, so many people are saying unalive. I'm going to say unalive. I wanted to unalive. And that's all I could like say. I would literally, it would feel like I would have a good day in school and come home and just, it all just be a thing. And I felt like I wanted to unalive. And I used to watch this show, watch what your kids is watching. You hear me? But I used to watch this show, and when the people wanted to unalive, they would they would do it. And then I'm not laughing at the thing. I'm laughing at Michelle, girl. Like, you get what I'm saying? Now I knew I was asking to unalive, but ain't had a balls to unalive me. You know what I mean? So I would see the show, and the people would take this like razor blade and they would just gash their arm. I had no razor blade, but I had a kitchen knife. It wasn't even sharp. I used to be bad at hurting myself, but I thought because on the TV they would do it, and it'll seem like that, then all the pain would go away. If you create more pain, just a twisted way of thinking. And I just would create more pain to myself. It's kind of like when you break up with somebody and then you go listen to a song about a breakup and then you reliving the breakup all over again. It's just creating a cycle of torturing yourself, basically. So I just would create a cycle of torturing myself. Um, and then again, when I would then, all right, so then later on, I then like would hear about like all these like traumatic stories and how trauma ran people to the Lord, right? I used to hear about like a girl got raped and she ran to the Lord, and a girl went through this and she ran to the Lord, and a girl went through that and she ran to the Lord, or anybody. I would just hear anybody went through something and they ran to the Lord. And I was saying, God, like maybe, mind you, I'm a virgin. Oh my God, maybe if I get, I'll run to you. Like, I didn't know what I was saying. I didn't know what it looked like to run to him. So even if at that time, I'm only laughing because, like, y'all, it's not funny, but it's funny now. Like, when you process it outside of that. But, like, at that time, I would say to the Lord, if I got taped with an arm, then maybe I'll run to you. And again, I don't know. But I didn't even know what it looked like to run a God. So even if I got taped, I I'm not gonna run to the Lord because I don't know him. I don't know to run to him. So, fun fact, again, I stated that I used to say, if I got taped, maybe I'll run to you. And we were at my friend's party, right? And we was playing Never Have I Ever, I think. And I was very, 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 mind you, I still had not lost my, I had not lost that yet. But I was very, very, very promiscuous. I was very lustful. I just was screaming whore, basically. I just would whine all the time, whine my hips, my body, and do splits all the time just to pour attention. And I was a heavier girl, so it was always like the attention I would get from being able to do a split and whine and shake my butt and do all this stuff. People like, oh. So every time I did it, it was like, oh. So I just would do it for attention and applause and love. Like that woman said, Helen testimony, um, when she said, because the applause said, I love you. And I felt that so deeply because it was like the applause from making a fool out of myself and the laughter from making a fool out of myself and the oh and hyping me up of all of that was like um was the opposite. It felt like the opposite of rejection. It felt like the opposite of rejection. So I would continue to do those things to get applause or to get like laughs and stuff like that. So I was at my friend's party and um we were playing like Never Have I Ever. And I had this one friend. She would always, every time we played Never Have I Ever, there was never a time that we didn't play Never Have I Ever that she would put me on the spot. She would always put me on the spot because I would always win Never Have I Ever because the stuff they were saying they done, I never done. They were saying they done stuff like, you know, stuff that I have not done yet. So I wasn't losing. So she would say stuff like to make me lose. So this one time in particular, she was like, um, never have I ever um it was like based along the lines of like still being um still not being touched there. And um and like obviously I like put a finger down because I'm not that, right? But she did that because she knew um that I would have to put a finger down for it. And this one boy goes, and he was like my friend's cousin, but like not his blood cousin. He just lived with them. I don't know how that dynamic worked. I don't know if it was his blood cousin or not, but they lived with them. Um, but he um he was like, "You lying?" I was like, "No, I'm not lying." And like my friend saying, "No, she not lying." And again, I told you I would be very lustful, doing all the lustful stuff, just whining and twerking, and it wore my cleavage out. Like my shirts were like very low cut all the time. Like it was like all my first off, I was a big girl, had no booty, so my breast was all I had. So what I had, I showed. Um, but it was my breasts were always out. So it just was that. So it's like I can get why he was like, "You lying, you lying." The way I was acting, shoot, anybody in their right mind would have been like, "I'm lying." Um, but I was like, "No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not lying. I'm not lying." And my friend was like, "She not lying," and he was like, "Y'all lying, like y'all lying." And he says to so I say to my friend like, tell him like that I'm not lying or whatever. Which like why did it matter whether I was lying or not? Again, like it really is important. Everything is just important. It's important who your kids' friends is. It's important what you're teaching them. It's important what you're pouring into them. It's just everything is so important. Because now I'm thinking about it. I mean, not that now I'm thinking about it. I had time to think about it. But it's like, why did that even matter? I should have been like, boy, bye. Like, you know what I'm saying? And girl, bye. I should have just been like, bye, y'all. Like, you know what I mean? So he was like, you lying, you lying. So I'm like telling my friend, like, tell him I'm not lying. Like, she not lying. So like as the night go on or whatever, eventually I had to go to the bathroom. And remember I said the story that I told the Lord that maybe if I get taken, I'll run to you. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'll serve you if I get taken. Something drastic happened. To me that was drastic and dramatic. That was something that you going to the Lord's feet. Now that I know that it's going to the Lord's feet, you going to the Lord's feet behind that. And I'm not laughing at that. I want that to be clear. I'm laughing because it's like you'll understand. Even if you don't understand, I'm laughing because it's like I told you that story. That maybe if that happens, then I'll go to the Lord's feet. And I'm laughing because I don't even know what it looked like to serve the Lord. I didn't even know what it looked like to run to Him. So why would I say? Because I would watch movies and stuff, and traumatic things like that would happen, and they would like serve the Lord, and I would say like maybe I'll serve the Lord. Or hear, it's funny because I would hear testimonies then, and that would be the case. I was like maybe if this happened to me, I'll like serve you. And so I go to the bathroom at this same party. I go to the bathroom and I lock the door because I'm at somebody else's house, and I don't want nobody accidentally walking on me. And the door gets open. But like I had no thought like did I lock the door? I locked the door. I don't care who house I'm at unless I'm at my own house. I don't even shut the door at my own house. But I don't care who house I'm at. I locked the door. So I locked the door and I use the bathroom and I literally get off the toilet like after I take care of myself. Get off the toilet, pull my pants. I don't even know what I had on, probably leggings or something. But I pull them up and I flush the toilet, and the door is open. And that boy is there. The one that was like, you lying, you lying. And I had to prove to him, like, not I had to prove to him, but I was trying to tell him, I'm not lying, I'm not lying. He comes in that bathroom, turns the light out, and literally tackles me to the ground. So I'm fighting this man for my life. Like, I'm fighting and I'm scared. Like, I I'm scared. And I'm fighting and I like just want this person off and away from me. Like so I get out. So I end up getting him off me. I end up getting out and I run straight to my friend and tell my friend what just happened. So he go and he cusses the boy out. And I think I'm not sure if we left after that. I'm not sure, but he cussed the boy out, and I think eventually, like, we leave because now it's just this whole like big problem. So we all just leave. We walk home. Um, my friend and I we walk home or whatever. I think we left. I'm not too sure if we left or not. I just that's literally what I remember, and then that's it. But I say that to say that I was saying to the Lord that if this thing happened to me, this thing that is so traumatic, if that thing happens to me, then I'll serve you. And then that thing almost happened to me, and I never served the Lord after that because I didn't know how. I didn't come home and say, Lord, like what I would do now, or God, like, did you see what happened? Like, I was like, God, like, I told nobody. If you wasn't at that party, you didn't know. I told nobody. So, um, let alone didn't even tell the Lord. You know what I mean? So it was like I didn't know how to tell the Lord. I didn't know how to run to Him. So I'm saying all that to say, in all of my laughs, was because like I say maybe if this happens, then this will be my response. But when it was about to happen, I had no response. I didn't know how to do what I said I'll do. I said, Lord, maybe if this happens, I'll run to you. I didn't know how to run to him. So life carries on. And then um, uh, uh, in high school, I was very I think in high school um I can't even say I was very promiscuous in high school. I just wanted the boy that I liked to like. Oh, I was. Oh, I forgot. I'm only laughing because like, ooh, I was. Um, oh Lord, I was like, I'll stop with the table patty cake under the table. But I didn't. This is one point in high school that would just pull it out for no reason, and like I was intrigued by it. I don't know why. Um, so you know, but yeah, so I just wanted to be liked by a boy, and it's funny because I was in high school when my mom asked me like, "Hey, like, are you a lesbian?" And I was like, "No, why would you ask me that?" And in high school, the girls' basketball coach was like, "Hey, Shell, can you play basketball for us?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to be a lesbian." And I think that's so funny because I did not even recognize that I just thought basketball girls were lesbians. I did not know I didn't have to be a lesbian. And it's so funny to me because when I seen the girls basketball, they were lesbians. So I literally said to him, "No, I don't want to be a lesbian." But he didn't know that my mom just asked me. It wasn't like today my mom asked me that, and then tomorrow he asked me to be on the team. It was just like, I don't need to give my mom another reason to think I'm a lesbian. So no. When fun fact, I loved to play sports. If I knew better in my right mind, I would have played basketball, but that was not God's will nor plan for me. But still, thinking about it now, it's like, girl, shoot, I probably would have been a lesbian. Let the Lord, I was so perverted, I probably would have been. But I thought I loved men too much, so I couldn't play because I didn't want to be a lesbian. Loved men too much. I didn't want to be. I didn't want to take any chances on being a lesbian. Okay, that's how much I love men. Um, um, still don't know the Lord like at all. Not even like a little bit, like no, at all. One time we were at my mom's boyfriend at the time. He had this home what is it? A home care like agency for like mentally challenged people, right? He had this Jehovah Witness come to the door, so we were there. This Jehovah Witness come to the door, and my oldest sister answers it, and then she goes, "Shell, the door." So I'm like, "Who at the door?" So Jessica was like, "The door," and I was like, okay. I went to the door, girl. Talk about Friday. Are you prepared for Jehovah's return? Because if you not, I ain't shut the door on it up. um, she was like, "Hi, can I talk to you about God?" And I was like, "Sure." Like, and I was very intrigued. The woman would teach me, and she was like, "If it's okay, I could come back. I don't know if she said tomorrow or next week." But she was saying, if it's okay, I can come back and we can do this. Like, we can make a habit of this. And at that point, like, she was coming in the house and we were just talking about it. I even gave her my home address, um so we can, like, she can teach me more about God, right? At the time, I didn't know no better. It just, a woman came, can I tell you about God? And yes, I want to know. So now I'm not a Jehovah Witness. I don't play like that. But I thought that was like my, not my, that was like my first real introduction of like God. When I was intrigued on my own, when I was like, ooh, yeah, I do want to know about this person or whatever. Um, because I wouldn't go back there. I will share stories later about like God showing up um in my life, like God being God in my life where I didn't even know him. But I'm not gonna do it now. Um hmm so she was what happened? So the woman, oh, so she would just come often, and then eventually, like, I stopped taking like her calls and stuff. I don't know why. Like, I just stopped. It just wasn't. I wasn't into it. So then, fast forward. Um, I was. We were in our gymnasium in high school, applying for colleges, and this college. Um, I wanted to go to Temple. Never went though. But I wanted to go so badly. Like, live on campus and everything. Go to Temple. Just, yeah. Um, but when I went to go sign up for Temple, the man was like clearly drunk. Like, he was like cussing us out. Like, he was so rude. So I never like applied for Temple, which, like, to me, like, when I think about it now in my natural mind, it's like, girl, you should have still applied. But again, I was like, all right, well, I'm not going there. Like, if they acting like that, they're like, you know. So then, my friend at the time, she was like, hey, let's go check out like Harkham because their colors is purple. Mind you, I have never in my life heard of Harkham College ever until I went. Well, so we walked up to that table. And the guy is like, hey, like, uh, talking about Harkham College, and it's like, hey, why do you guys want to go to Harkham College? I was like, she want to come over here because the colors are purple, and he's like, well, that's not a reason to apply for a college, but okay. Like, and I cracked up because to me it was just so funny. So, and then he was like, he was just getting us all together. He said that to her, and then to me he talked about, yeah, well, this resume is all messed up. Like, you need a better resume. Like, who did this for you? Mind you, my counselor helped me with it, or whoever was helping us with um college prep. They helped me do that. So, like, boy, be quiet. You don't know no better. The reason I'm cracking up so hard is because this same man becomes my brother later in life. Like, he's my brother too. So it's like, boy, you don't know what you're talking about. But I sit there and let him read through my resume because I'm not gonna say, boy, you don't know what you're talking about. I say, okay. So he helped me like revamp my resume or whatever. Um, and then I end up, Harkin was the only college I ended up applying to. So I was like, all right, guess I gotta go. Because it's the only college I applied to, and I wanted to get out of my house. Okay, so I ended up going to Harkham, and I ended up going to Harkham, and more of the story again, like a lot of my life, I felt like a lot of like rejection. I felt like a lot of just pain and sorrow or whatever. So with this one man, I cannot tell you. It literally, can I tell you how it literally had to be orchestrated by God Because how did I meet this man? One, how did I even feel comfortable enough to start talking to him and telling him my business? Because I used to grow up and feel like if my own family did not care about me, why would a stranger care about me? But it was something about this man that I felt like, um, but again, I was seeking a father. I was seeking to fill a void. I was seeking a dad. I was just seeking a man to guide me and lead me the right way. So this man, he used to work there, and I would tell him all of my business. He would give me good advice. He was like a counselor. I don't know what his job. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Excuse me. That's what I mean. I don't know how I found this man because, like, how didn't I know his job description? How did I stumble into his office? And how did I begin sitting on his chair telling him my business when he had a job to do? But I praise God that he listened. I praise God that he did, and that he gave me I can't remember any advice that he gave me, but it was sound for me to keep coming back or whatever, right? Um and that guy, remember the guy that was the guy that was the rep for Harkham, his name is Marcus, he's my brother. He would come down to that man's office, right? And I was like, oh, that's the guy, right? I ain't say that to nobody else. I said it in my own head, like, that's the man that like was the rep for Harkham, like, and he helped me with my resume. Like that was the man. So in my mind, I had to get connected with that man. I didn't know why. I didn't know how. I didn't know. He would just come clown the man. So the man, the funny part about life is, and this is not important, but he would clown the man about him having an iPhone, and the man would say, "It's alright, you got that bitten apple on the back of your phone. Yeah, what's that about? What's that about?" Basically saying that was Adam and Eve biting the forbidden fruit. I don't know the mindset behind Apple doing that or making that. I don't know. I don't necessarily get into it because I don't know. But that's what he was saying. And he was like, "Man, get an iPhone, get an iPhone." He's like, "I would never," or whatever. But like he would just come and pick on that guy. And that guy, and like I would just crack up. So then not too shortly after that, that man is in the office that man used to be in. He had got a different job, but that's where his office then became, right? Because like someone else hired him to their department when he was working. I don't know even know who he was working for. He just would come downstairs and just pick. So I had said to Marcus, "All right, well, now that you now that you here, now you gotta hear now I gotta tell you all my business. You gotta help me with my problems or whatever." He's like, "That's not my job." Like he wasn't like the thing about that was when I said now you gotta help me with all my problems, him saying that's not my job, he wasn't playing with me. He wasn't like, "Girl, that's not my job." Ha 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 ha. Well, come on, let me help you with your business. No. He was like, "That's not my job, little girl." Like, I don't know what you think I'm here for, but like, I was very much entitled. I was very much, you gonna sit here and listen to my problems. Like, if it wasn't your job, it's your job today. Um, because like now, I thank God that I was adamant and I wouldn't leave, and I thank God that He didn't necessarily get me kicked out by security. But he would sit there, and he would listen to my problems, and he would ask me questions. So, for instance, when I wanted something or when I did something, I come to him like, "Yo, Bark, da da da." He'd be like, "Well, why would you do that?" I don't know. Like, I wanted to do it. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it used to get on my nerves with his, like, he would have a question after everything I did, after everything I wanted to do. It would get on my nerves because it was like, I don't know. And then one time I wanted a nose ring, right? And I was like, Mark, I'm about to get, oh, this is the late, oh, I'm going fast forward. So I'm like, so he would just ask me questions like, why, whatever. I'd be like, I don't know. But he would like make me walk myself through the answer. Like, I would not be like, Mark, what's 1 plus 1? And he would say 2. I'd be like, what's 1 plus 1? He's like, well, if you have one apple and one orange, how many pieces of fruit do you have? That's what he would give me a question back. He would not, or even when I would make a statement, he would give me a question, and I would be like I don't know, like to me, it felt like I'm asking you, or I'm telling you this, like boy, I'm not telling you this because I need, I there's a deeper meaning behind this. I'm telling you this just because it's my business, and I trust you with it now, you know. And to him, it was everything was deeper. Everything was you do that for a reason, and that's just not that don't derive from nothing. It derives from something, um, or whatever. But eventually, over time, he ends up inviting me to church, and then I like fall in love with like the people, which was his family, which was all his family, and I just fell in love with them, and like without trying, Marcus and Shanita became my parents. They didn't ask for it, they didn't want it, but they became my parents. And I was a mess, y'all. Like, I was a mess. Um, but like, it's like, I don't know. They kind of taught me, in a way, the kind of person that I wanted to be. They taught me love, right? I, I, I didn't know love. I didn't, I didn't know what love looked like, even if it was love. And at the time, even them teaching me love, they just loved on me. That's how they taught me love. They really just loved on me, and I just loved them back. And I just was grateful for them, because they just stopped at nothing, and they had just. Uh, I love y'all. I just love them so much. They have um, changed my life drastically. Um, oh, but a little backwards. I also have friends and oh, I was just cracking up because I had a friend. Oh my goodness, I ain't even whatever, not important. Then. But I had friends in college. I had a friend that his I think his dad was a deacon, but he was my friend, and I thought that he was so rude when I first met him. So fun fact, he wasn't even my friend first. My first day of school, um my roommate, which was my friend for since I was 5, Mariah. We've been friends since we were 5, and she was my roommate. And she helped me take my stuff upstairs. And then this guy, his name was Donnie, and his 2 sisters also helped me take all of my stuff upstairs. They helped me unload my mom's car, and they helped me take it upstairs because my mom wasn't helping me for whatever reason. She had not to help me, but she didn't help. She just, and then once we got all the stuff out the car, she just pulled off. But they all helped me, take the stuff upstairs, and uh, so we, Mariah and I hung out with Donnie. Uh, so we just hung out with Donnie, and then we just got to know like different people. And Donnie's roommate was Paul, and Paul came with his whole family or whatever, and I loved that. Like to me, like when I seen that, I loved that. It's like when I seen it, that's what I wanted. You know what I mean? I'll not explain it. But he came with his mom and dad who are married. He came with his siblings who are from his mama and his daddy. It just like when I seen them in my mind, that's what I wanted. And in my mind, I was like, oh, Paul look cute. I I'm cracking up because like, you know, if you knew you knew, you didn't know you just I was like, he look cute. And like he just had the family that I wanted. So I wanted to be a part of their family. Mind you, this is before I met Marcus. I was going Marcus family. This was before I met Marcus. Fun fact, but I was going. Again, these was like the first around the first days of school. So again, all of that happened within the first um like semester. All that with Marcus, but I introduced Marcus early on because I ended up meeting him in high school. Um, so Paul and his family were just like in my mind, like the poster family. It's like a married mom and dad, 5 kids. Like they just were the dream for me, regardless of what they look like, sound like, act like. They just were very well put together. Like it just was beautiful. Like yeah, it was just very beautiful. Um, and I don't know. It just made me like gravitate to Paul because I wanted what Paul had. Wow, Lord. I've been coveting forever. Forever. Jesus. Lord. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow, that is just revelation to me. So I just wanted what Paul had. So I gravitated toward Paul. And then getting to know him, I actually began to like him. But it was one of those like I liked him, but like I knew um he didn't like me back. So I would just prefer to be his friend. Or him call me his best friend, you know? Because like just being his friend felt like but like being his best friend felt like all right, we closer than just being friends. So it felt like enough for me, but it still wasn't enough as it life ended up playing itself out or whatever. Um, yo, this is just hilarious. Um, so yeah, so in that, um, Paul and I got like really close, and then I don't necessarily know. Paul always had his Bible open in his room, like he just always did, and to me, it was like to me, this was to me, and Paul didn't drink. Paul wasn't like smoking. Paul wasn't acting like wow. Like he just was like being himself. He just was, and I was wild and doing everything. Like I, because to me, I'm trying to tell you, like I was so wild that like even like they be like, "Shall I dare you to do the and don't?" They would dare me to do whatever, and I would do whatever they dare me to do because like I'm just making them laugh and have a good time, and we just having a good time. So I'm just gonna do whatever y'all tell me to do, basically. So and Paul used to get so mad. He used to be like, "Oh my god, like stop, like." because I'm gonna have to be the one to take care of her. Like, and I just like it just was funny. So, and not like that. Like like he just knew. Like we in hindsight, even like beyond like me liking him, like I actually like value him as a friend. Like to me, he was like we were friends. Like we were really good friends, and I genuinely cared about him, and I genuinely loved him. I know now that I genuinely loved him. I didn't know. I don't even know if I loved him then, because again, it started off. I coveted what he had. I coveted what he had, so I thought if I grew closer to him, I can obtain what he has, right? So it wasn't necessarily like, oh, I want to be his friend because he decent. No, I want to be his friend because I coveted him. Ooh, that's deep, Jesus. Yeah. So I coveted him and what he had. So I wanted to be his friend off of that. Um, and yeah, and then I end up like genuinely caring about him. So yeah, and like obviously like we uh were really close friends, but he what was I about to say? But yeah, but then our relationship got rocky. Like it messed up when like I started act a way toward him because I never openly expressed that I liked him to him. I told everybody that I had ears to hear, honey, but not necessarily to him because I did not want him to reject me. So I settled for a lesser position just to say I still got a piece of. Um, I settled for a piece of him, knowing that I wanted the whole thing, right? Um, so yeah, life is life, and yeah, but he would not drink, he would not smoke. He just was like lit. Like to me, it was like, oh okay. And I was drinking and smoking. Mind you, I didn't do none of that before I. Oh, that's a lie. I was when I was at the parties with my friends after high school. Yeah, I was drinking at those parties. But then when I got to college, it was like at college, it's a thing called Thirsty Thursday. You're not that thirsty. Nobody is. I'm saying that because y'all, from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we was thirsty, just drinking. And me and my friends was so poor that we would collect all our money together and get the cheapest alcohol just to be drunk and stupid for no reason. It just makes me so right? Um so yeah. So yeah. So I will watch him just be like a person. But in my mind, like, oh, okay, like this how a person that loves God like carries themselves. So then I'm like, I want to carry myself like that. It didn't happen instantly. No, it didn't happen. It didn't even happen in college. Um, and then again, remember after. Oh, so fast forward just a little. I end up getting baptized at Paul's church, at his home church. I end up getting baptized there. And personally, if you ask me, mind you, I end up getting baptized because Paul was like, you need to be baptized. Like, after you accept Christ in your life, like, you need to be baptized. I'm not necessarily sure if I even accepted Christ in my life, which, like, I wanted God, but I didn't know Him. I didn't know God to want Him. I just wanted what Paul had. Paul had God, and he had his family, and he had that. So I wanted that. Um, and so he was like, all right, well now you got to get baptized. So I'm like, all right, time for me to get baptized. So I go travel with him to Virginia, and I get baptized, and it felt like that my life went to crap. After I was baptized, it felt like that I've opened the door to calamity. Like I didn't necessarily have again I told you I've dealt with like rejection and things like that, but it felt like it just felt like my life went to crap. Like I started just doing whatever I wanted to do. Like um yeah. Yep. When I was in college, I was sleeping with some girl boyfriend. I just was just doing whatever I wanted to do, which was that just that. Um, I just was not. I don't know. I just was doing whatever I wanted to do. Very promiscuous. Very like just doing what I wanted to do. Um, and still had no. I still had no desire for God. I still just wanted what Paul had, and necessarily what his parents had. That's all I wanted. I just wanted marriage and kids. I wanted a husband and I wanted kids. That's all I wanted. And I wanted money. Those are the only things I wanted in this life. Marriage, kids, money. That was it. Marriage, kids, money. That was it. Um, so, you know, um, um, even before I got to college, I, all right, so when you see things, it makes you then want things, right? So to me, when I seen people with money, it was people that were drug dealers. That's a no brainer. I just didn't know any personally to be a drug dealer. Also, I seen people like I heard people boosting and scamming and scheming. I don't know if I can. I can. I don't even know if I can say those things here on this without being flagged. So let's say I, the people I knew had money, um, were selling illegals. Okay, probably a fair statement. That won't be flagged. And other people I seen with money were messing with other people's credit cards and stuff like that, or however they did it in stores. I don't know. I just knew I wanted money, and I knew that this is how I see these people be fly and have money. I just wanted to be fly. That's it. Um. So I'm in college again. Like, um, uh, I meet this. I didn't necessarily meet him. I knew him. We were like all like hanging out or whatever. And he started to sell illegals, right? So I said to him like, "Oh my goodness, I want to learn. Can you teach me how to sell illegals?" Me, if you really knew me, you'd be like, "Shell, go sit your tail down." Which he should have been like, "Shell, go sit your tail down." I'm cracking up because anybody that knew me should have said, "Shell, go sit your tail down." But I knew not to tell everybody. Okay, knew not to tell everybody that'll tell me go sit my tail down. So he says to me, all right, I'm gonna see what you can do with this. He gives me two dime bags. I'm doing this because y'all gonna hear the story later. He gives me two dime bags and a gram, right? Personally, I didn't know that much. I didn't know well enough to know what a dime bag was to be sold for and what a gram was to be sold for, but he had to tell me. Um, so he like, yeah, we'll see what you can do with this, and um, and like we'll see. Like it's like a test run or whatever. I guess I don't know where his mindset was, but my mindset was, I'm gonna be the biggest um illegal that way. Yeah, like powered Tariq and the white boy on campus. Yes. um. So I'm at work. It's just so funny to me because like it's just so funny to me. So I'm at work and I'm telling my friends like, yeah, I got that. Like I Michelle, go sit down. So I'm telling my friends like, yeah, I got that stuff. Like So one inquires about it, which jail. So I'm like, yeah, I got that stuff. So my friend like he calls me later. Yeah, I heard you got da da da. No, he didn't call me later. He didn't call me later at the job. I'm like, yeah. He like, you got it? I was like, yeah. So he bought the two dime bags, right? So I'm like, da, 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 like living my life, still telling people, yeah, I still got some stuff for sale because I still had a grant. So I'm like, I still got some stuff for sale, whatever. My friend calls me, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And he like, yeah, come outside right quick. Mind you, I'm at school now. I'm not at work no more, but I worked at Acme, which was directly over the bridge of Harker. And then like my friends at work knew me because I went to Harker. I told them I go to Harker. He like, come outside right quick. He pull up in his car. Mind you, he not the one driving. Some other guy's driving. This white boy. He pulled up with some white boy, and the white boy got a scale. He talk about they put it on the scale in my face. I don't care about that. I don't know what that scale means. Why are you doing that? I don't know what that means. I'm cracking up because now that I think about it, it's like I really didn't know what that scale means. So y'all pulling the scale out was like, so he like, yeah, that's not a dime. These are Nick bags. I still don't know what that means. And then they like explained it to me like, no, these for $5, not 10. But he already paid me $20 for the bag. So all I knew was I gotta get the boy his money. So I just was saying to them, I don't know, like that's all I was saying. And like I don't know if I could say thank God he was my friend or thank God I did not know. But thank God for Jesus, okay? Thank God that I don't know. I ain't never seen this in the Bible, but when people say God covers babies and fools, I never quote that because like God covers His children. But I'm quoting it now because I was a fool. Okay, so excuse me. So um, So yeah, so he left. I didn't give him his money back. He just left. Him and a white boy. I was like, I don't know. Like I didn't know what to tell him, so I just kept saying, I don't know. Like, so they end up leaving, and then my other friend calls me, which was his friend. They were like best friends. He calls me like, hey, you still got the car? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, how much is it? I was like, $20, because that's what the guy told me. He told me these two are $10 and that one is $20, right? So he like, you still got the yeah. I'm like, yeah. So he comes to my school, buys it for me. So I go to his building and I give him the money, and that was it. And I didn't want to, like, I didn't even say where my cut or none of that. Like, oh well, it's over. I'm a poor illegal person. Okay. um um so yeah, but again, that was me coveting another just story and scenario of me coveting over what I saw and going after these things in my own way, right? Um so fast forward, but God was protecting me. Okay. Fast forward, like, again, I told you, like, after I got baptized, my life just went to crap. It just felt like if it was bad, it was worse. It just felt like if I was doing bad, I started doing worse. It felt like if life wasn't good, it felt like it got worse. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm reiterating this because it just was like not a good. It just seemed like it was going downhill. So then later again, like, I would go to church or like, so then while I was in school again, I told you then I met Marcus and like started to get to know Marcus, started to be in Marcus' office all the time. Marcus was my therapist at that point, and he ended up inviting me to church. He probably like, this girl got all these problems. She need to come to church with me. So he started inviting me to church. Like, mind you, the campus was my home at the time. So he would pick me up from campus for church and for Bible study, and he would take me there or whatever, take me to church. And um, I don't know, what I really learned was just like love, but it wasn't like what I learned from reading the word. It was what I learned through actions and behavior and just the way they loved me for the most part. And then I would begin to like watch like sermons and stuff on my own, but it was just like Joel Osteen and stuff like that. I would just watch him, and at some point, it was just Joel Osteen. And at some point, I really got sick and tired of, like, I guess the preach me happy messages. That's what I'm gonna call, or that's what I'm gonna call them. Like, I got tired of. I knew it was like more to God. It was something in me that was like, it was more to God, and I kept saying to the Lord, like, all right, I get it. You love us. Like, I literally would say to the Lord, I get it. You love us. Like, but what you gonna do if we make you mad? Like, just like parents kick their kids out when they make them mad, what do you do when we make you mad? And then at the same time, I was praying for friends that like keep me accountable, because I felt like my friends just let me do whatever I want, and I just was doing whatever I want. Like, I was very entitled, very manipulative, very. I just was a ugly-hearted person, very prideful, like very promiscuous, very like, it just was like I was doing whatever I want, whenever I want. Um, yeah, you know, had my boyfriend and we just was, doing boyfriend and girlfriends of the world do, not of the kingdom. There's no boyfriend or girlfriend in the kingdom. But doing what the world does when you call somebody your boyfriend. So very promiscuous, very much fornicating. Um, and so I would ask God, like, what would you do if we make you mad? Like, and he then, like, on top of, I think, my prayer of friends that will hold me accountable, I end up meeting my friend, and she was on fire for the Lord. Like, okay, she loved the Lord, but so when I would meet people that loved the Lord, at the time, minus Marcus, but when I would meet people that told me that they loved the Lord, when I looked at their lifestyle, they were still doing what I was doing. Even when I was younger, people that said they loved the Lord, they were doing what the world was doing. There was no distinction. So I thought, like, you can say you love the Lord and do these things. I thought I can love God and have a wicked heart. I thought I can love God and be manipulative. I thought I can love God and get my own money. I thought I can love God and get my own husband. I thought I can love God and love myself at the same time. I thought, like, I can be, yeah. I thought, I didn't think, I didn't know that when you really love God, you'll keep his commands, like his words say. I think that's the best way I can put it. Um, but yeah, so many people that I seen that were like following God were also doing the same things I was doing. So I didn't think nothing was necessarily wrong with it until my friend um started like literally changing her life. And it felt like everything she was doing, I was doing. Like, God would tell her to do something, I would do it too. God would tell her to abstain from sex, I would abstain from sex too, because I want him real bad. And if that's how to get him to talk to me too, then I'm gonna do it too. Um, so to me, it just felt like whatever he was telling her to do, I was doing because I wanted him. Again, I didn't think my lifestyle had to change because the people that I seen before, lifestyles did not change. So I thought you really can love God with your whole heart and still hate him at the same time. And when I say, and I'm not saying that when you come to God, you have to be perfect. And when you come to God, you have to, everything must be dealt with before you come to him. No, I'm literally saying come as you are, and he would deal with those things. He would show you that it's filth to him. And I think I was looking at God through the lenses of other people and not looking at God through my own lenses of who God says he is to me. I was looking at who God says he is to other people. I was looking at, all right, well, um, all right. So if God says that I'm not supposed to do this, then I'm not gonna do it. It was all like work based. I never it was never it was never like from my heart. It was never like I love you until I truly learned that I did not love him. Until I learned that I did not know what love was. Until I learned that I actually hated him and myself. Um, and he revealed that to me through my actions and my ways and just things I would do in my thought process and how I would treat him and how I would treat other people. Because again, I just wanted what I wanted. And that was it. And it really was like I didn't mind who I had to step on to get what I wanted to get. I just wanted what I wanted. And God is literally shifting my heart to want what He wants for me. And I'm learning every single day to love Him more than I could have ever thought that I would. I never, ever, 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 ever would have thought that I'd be wanting to hear God's voice for what I should do. I never thought that I would be asking God, well, what do you think I should do? Or what should I do? Or where should I go? Or should I be here right now? Should I do this? Should I say this? I never thought I would consult Him for anything. Like, to me, God was just God. Like, and not God like that. To me, God was just the person you respect, that you don't curse, and I don't mean curse like profane, which don't do that either, but I mean you don't swear on God. Like, you I just thought God was just like, I didn't know He cared. I didn't know He had feelings. I didn't know His feelings got hurt. I didn't know what it meant of Him being jealous over us. I didn't know that God was love, that God is love. I did not know God. So the whole time, I just wanted a lifestyle. The whole time, I just wanted stuff. I wanted to be rich, have a beautiful husband, beautiful babies, and be in a really nice area and just do whatever I want to do. That was my only desire. That was my only goal. And then God really stepped in. And then again, I was saying, I met my friend, and in a way, her life looked like mine, but she knew God deeper than any of the other people. I felt like she knew God. It just felt like it was another step closer to God when I met her. I can't say at the time like I felt like she knew God deeper than anybody I know. I'm not gonna say that. I just felt like it was another step. I got another step closer to God, right? So again, God He showed up plenty of times in my life, but I never knew it was Him until I got older. Every time God showed up, it produced arrogance in me. It produced pride in me. It produced a mindset of I'm not touchable. It produced a mindset that I can't be touched. It produced a mindset in me that whatever got my back, can't nothing stop me. Like, it produced a mindset that, like, I'm bigger than a program. I've been saying that lately. Like, we got to learn that we're not bigger than the program. And the program is the body of Christ. That's the program. It's not a one-man show. It's a program. Everybody has a role. Everybody has an assignment. When I was working at the hospital, the beautiful thing I loved about working at the hospital is everybody had their role. Everybody played their role. Everybody knew their role. And it made the hospital flow. The patient comes in, right? First off, the patient calls the doctor. Hey, this is what's going on. They get checked up. Da, 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 da. Their doctor then tells them, hey, you need this surgery done. They come into the hospital. They get checked in. They meet the doctor. They get checked in by the nurse. They meet the doctor. The nursing assistants help out. It's just a cycle. Dietary staff comes up, feed the people. Respiratory comes around. Um, Physical therapy comes around. The cleaning people come around. Listen, this is on a daily. Everybody is doing their job, which makes the hospital flow the way it's supposed to. If we operate it like that in the kingdom of God, we will all, the body will flow the way it's called to. So what I'm saying is, a lot of us think we are bigger than a program, and every time God showed up for me, showed up on my behalf. That's why, like, I stand in adoration and thanksgiving unto Him, because like he watched me harden my heart towards Him. He watched me in covenant. I told you, in promiscuity, coveting, manipulation, just hatred and bitterness, and oh my goodness, He watched me slander. I done cursed a few people in my life. He watched me do all of this, and yet is still choosing to use me. And I'm like, Lord, I thank you. Because to me, I should not even, like, girl, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I should not even, I should have been dead. Hell and brimstones was my portion. You know how people say, going to hell with gasoline draws on? That was my ticket. I had a first class ticket straight to hell with gasoline outfit on. I was drenched in gasoline, the same way they do it in the movies. Drenched in gasoline, going straight to hell. And yet, God still kept me alive, giving me the opportunity to choose Him because He foreseen it in my life. God, I just thank Him. Mm, 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 mm. God, I just thank God. I thank God. It's like, oh my gosh, I just thank God. It's again, hell was my portion, and God still chose to clean me up, clean me out. He literally turned my heart of stone to a heart of flesh. He turned my heart of stone into a heart of flesh. Mind you, when my heart was stony, I couldn't feel it. I didn't know that I put walls and gates up, and bitterness and callous and hate and jealousy and envy and slander was all in my heart, and divination and deceit. I was a wicked, 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 wicked person.